You can't give me $5, by user Fig91. Nothing super special but gave me a laugh today. My son's school for the 100th day of school asked for the kids to bring in 100 of the same coin. They are going to be donating the money to the local food pantry, so it is for a good cause, and we are doing pretty good this month, so I decided to give him 100 quarters, $25, to donate. So on lunch I head to my bank and go in. I'm directed to one of the windows and tell the nice lady I need to withdraw $25 in quarters. She says okay and goes to get my quarters. She comes back with 3 rolls of quarters. I can only do $20 or $30. They only come in rolls of $10. I point out that she has a tray of change and ask, can you take $5 from the loose change? No. They only come in rolls of $10. Do you want $20 or $30? Okay. I really need the $25, so I ask for the $30. She goes to process my request in the computer at another window and comes back with the 3 rolls of quarters. I then tell her, can I go ahead and make a deposit? Of course. How much were you wanting to deposit? $5 in quarters. The range of emotions that crossed her face as I broke open one of the rolls and began to count out my $5 in quarters was priceless. She then takes it and tells the guy at the other computer that we needed to deposit $5 in quarters back into the account. He asked her what happened and she told him I asked for $25 but rolls only came in $10. He then asked her why she didn't just count out $5 in quarters from the loose change that is on each desk. I just smiled as I waited for my deposit receipt. Expense reimbursement policy? I'll follow it to the letter, by user @Gianni_. At my previous job, we had a strict expense reimbursement policy. The rule? Only expenses with receipts were reimbursed, no exceptions. One month, I traveled for work and had a few small expenses, like bus fares, street parking, and tipping, where getting a receipt was impossible. I submitted my report, clearly listing these minor charges, totaling about $20. Rejected. My manager, no receipt, no reimbursement. Policy is policy. We need every receipt for audit purpose. Fine. Cue malicious compliance. The next trip, I went all in. My total expenses? $280 instead of $20. When finance processed my claim, my manager was furious. Why is this so high? Me, well, you said no receipt, no reimbursement. So I made sure everything had a receipt. A new policy was introduced the following week: reasonable expenses may be reimbursed at management's discretion even without receipts. Complain about how I do my job? Cool, let's see how things go when I do it your way, by user jacket_fruit. I work as a school janitor. Half my day is spent in the lunchroom emptying the trash cans and sweeping up. At most schools, you get 15+ minutes in between each lunch period to do all the cleaning. At my school, I get less than 2 minutes, if I'm lucky. Normally, if a trash can isn't full, I just dump one can to another, and then tie off that bag when it gets full. It's a lot faster than having to replace every bag every time, and it saves a ton of bags. I also sweep up around the tables, and, if I see a big mess under a table, I ask the kids to move their feet and sweep that up too. I do it this way because it's the only way to keep up and keep things clean. If I pulled every bag every time instead of dumping one can into another, not only would I run out of bags halfway through the week, but it would also take way longer. If I only swept under tables when there was no kids sitting there, I would literally never have an opportunity to sweep under tables. Enter the lunch ladies. Most of them are nice, but there's this one older one who is just a miserable human being. She yells at everyone including the kids, and is just always angry about something. Earlier this week, she yelled at me for dumping one trash can into another instead of pulling the bag. Why she chose today to do this, I don't know, since I'd been doing this every day for the past 3+ years. I know how to do my job and didn't ask her opinion, so I just ignored her, didn't say anything, and kept doing what I was doing. Fast forward an hour or two, and I'm getting a call from my district boss that there was a complaint filed against me. The lunch ladies are saying they don't like that I dump cans instead of pulling bags, and they don't like that I sweep under the kids' feet. My boss tells me just stick to cleaning in between lunch periods. I try to explain that that's literally a period of less than 2 minutes and isn't even a fifth of the amount of time I'd need to do it that way. He says just do it anyway to keep the lunch ladies happy. He's a good dude, but he's just trying to squash complaints and keep them from going further. He says from now on, I'm only to empty trash or sweep the floors in between lunches, where there's not students in the cafeteria, and also I'm to pull the bags every time. No more dumping cans. Cue malicious compliance. Starting then, I only cleaned in between lunches when there was no kids. Of course, this is literally like a knife and a half, so I only had time to get to half the trash cans. And since I was replacing every bag instead of dumping cans, each can took longer. I didn't even have time to sweep at all. The trash cans I couldn't get to would fill up and overflow, and the kids don't care and just keep piling trash on top. The floor got more and more covered in trash, since I didn't have time to sweep at all. I did this for the rest of the week. The same bitch a lunch lady tried to scream at me to go empty the trash when I was standing there on Tuesday, but I explained I was told by my boss that you guys didn't like me sweeping or emptying trash around the kids, so now I'm only allowed to do that when the cafeteria is empty. I'd love to go get that trash can, but there's kids eating lunch right now so I'm not allowed. She tried to argue but I just told her I'm following direct and explicit orders from my boss. There was nothing she could do. When the final lunch ended, I cleaned as much as I could before 2 p.m. and then stopped, as that was my lunch time and the union requires that we take our lunches at our allotted times. It's non-optional and zero tolerance for deviation. And after my lunch, I have to go clean classrooms since school is out, and classrooms take priority over the cafeteria. End result? The cafeteria never got fully cleaned. When the lunch ladies came in Monday and found it still half filthy, they went through the roof and complained to my boss. He called me Ina and I explained that I was just follow orders, and the lunch ladies were the ones who asked I do things this way. Suffice it to say, I was told to go back to doing it however I thought was best. You wanna stick your nose in my business and tell me how to do my job? See how that turns out. Oh, and also since then, I spent the rest of the week calling them out on all the things they were doing wrong. Previously I just kept my mouth shut and minded my business, but now? Now we're doing this the way you wanted. Door propped open because it's incredibly hot in the kitchen and you need the airflow? Sorry. That's a security issue, doors cannot be propped open. Greasy wax paper in the cardboard recycling? Sorry, that can't go in there. Normally I'd just grab it as I see it, but now? I waited till the end of the day and then tell them. They had to pick it all out by hand. You guys like having the radio playing in the kitchen? Sorry, not allowed. Shut it down. TLDR, lunch ladies tried to tell me how to do my job. They got what they wanted. Didn't like it. Ask me for 4 eggs, I give you 4 eggs, using the policy I explained to you 5 times while you were ordering, by user alarming _spread_2883. This is a doozy that happened to me at my old job, a server at a breakfast place, where I fully acknowledge that there's no need for an IDA, because IATA. And I know it. I was having a particularly overwhelming shift and about 3 hours into a 6-hour shift, 2 people came in that were particularly known for their being divorced and completely loathing one another quite openly to the servers and staff, and were overall very loud and rude to guests and staff alike. Every other weekend they would come in to go over paperwork and divorce things and the server who would get them always got sympathy from the rest of us. I had the pleasure of serving these lovely people a few times, and all of the times were so insanely different in terms of weirdness, but let's just get into this one. They come in and it ends up being my turn in the rotation. Yikes, but I thought me and the guy were chill because the last time I served them I told him I liked his dinosaur shirt, and his ex-wife made fun of him for it, and I told her I thought it was a cool shirt and he and I high-fived and it was the most invigorating experience of my life. I come up to them and ask what I can get started for their drinks, and I can tell it's going to be a tense experience already. They were both very snappy and rude and I was doing my best to just stay friendly. Fast forward and I'm asking for their orders eventually and the guy orders 4 eggs. I explain to him, we double our yolks. If you order 4 eggs, you will receive 8 total eggs. He tells me no, he wants 4 eggs. So I tell him, okay, so that is going to show up as 2 eggs in our system and on your respite. He tells me no. He wants 4 eggs. At this point, I don't know what to tell him, but I try one more time. I tell him, yes, you will receive 4 eggs on your plate. But it will say 2 on the respite. He says, no. I don't want to pay for 2, I want to pay for 4. I'm done. ADP I'm more confused than he is. I tell him okay, and I write it down on my order sheet. I put in the order, manually because we do not have a button for 4 eggs because we double our eggs. The head cook calls me over, he says 4? I say, that's what the customer ordered. He says, okay. And he makes the most beautiful over easy sheet of 8 eggs, with a side of bacon. It comes out and I serve it to him. He looks at me and says, this isn't what I ordered. I say, yes it is. Grinning face with smiling eyes, and he says, fine, I'll take it. I got yelled at for it at the end of my shift, but it was so worth the look on his face when I served it to him, and the laughs it got from my co-workers who told me they wished it was them to serve it to him. One of my favorite memories from working at that place. I have a picture of the 8-egg beauty, but I can't post it here. Pensive face. Oh, you want me to be thorough? You got it, by user @Gianni_. So, I used to have this manager who was obsessed with thoroughness. Every task, every report, every email, be more thorough, he'd say. At first, it was just minor tweaks. But soon, it got out of hand. He started rejecting reports for not having enough detail, even when the numbers were completely self-explanatory. One day, I submitted our usual weekly report. Simple, clear, and to the point. He sent it back, not thorough enough. Resubmit. Alright. If thoroughness is what he wants, thoroughness is what he's gonna get. I rewrote the entire report into a 20-page epic. I included. I sent it off and waited. A few hours later, I got a one-line response, this looks good. But next time, keep it simple. Oh, so now we like simple? Sure thing, boss. Smirking face.